Irish storytelling is an art and has been cultivated in Ireland for generations. The accounts that we have of Irish storytelling are small and limited because so much was lost in the 17th century when the Gaelic world fell due to war and the decay of Irish language. The loss of Irish language has destroyed oral literature and left a gap in our knowledge. However, researchers have made attempts to collect unwritten stories and information on traditional storytelling. It is in these collections that we can really begin to understand true and authentic Gaelic storytelling. The focus of this video is on the information provided from these researchers and an interview from a modern storyteller, Tim Evans. Traditional Irish stories were not meant to be written or read. They were a treasured part of culture. Storytellers were not usually literate or educated. Instead, they came from small, isolated communities and they focused on perfecting their stories and sharing them with their community. Storytelling was used for many different things. It was largely a social event and a way for people to gather and gossip about the events of the countryside. It was also a way to pass time and, most importantly, a way to escape from the hardship of everyday life. Storytelling was meant for adults, not young children. Storytellers feared that children would try to question the truth of the stories and would not be able to fully appreciate them. Therefore, storytelling commenced in people's homes after the children had been tucked into bed so that they would not interrupt. Storytellers treasured their stories so much that some would only tell the most important stories on their deathbed to their closest friends and family. They picked their audiences carefully because, in the words of J.H. DeLargy, the real storyteller is a creative, literary artist with sensitive temperament who cannot do justice to his material in a strange or unfriendly environment. Their stories would be carefully passed from generation to generation. These stories included tales about fairies, ghosts, and supernatural beings. Other stories included heroic tales, legends, genealogies about local families, or religious tales about the lives of saints. Traditional storytellers are very hard to find today, partly because they did not intend to share their stories with everyone, and also because traditional stories are told in Irish, not English. Having to translate them causes the storyteller to lose their passion, and the stories are not told as well. Storytelling has evolved to be very different in modern Irish culture. We conducted an interview with a storyteller named Tim Evans. He told us his perception of storytelling, his inspiration, and the context of modern stories. Nowadays, according to Tim, stories are more reflective of Irish history and told in celebration at festivals and in competition.
And a lot of the storytelling you'll find nowadays is in competitions or festivals. It's not traditional anymore in the sense that it's told in houses around Ireland.
His inspiration came from wanting to tell stories as brilliantly as the people on tapes that he had heard growing up.
I became a storyteller because by accident I got involved in this competition, realised I was very good at this, people loved me, it was the centre of attention, I loved it. It was a high, that's why I got involved in it.
In modern culture, storytelling is more casual and celebratory. They don't pick their audiences so carefully and they are open to sharing their stories. This may be because the stories that they tell are taken from storytellers like Eamon Kelly, who created modern Irish stories. He may have taken the roots from ancestors, but the stories are not so carefully passed down.
I don't drink anymore, but when I used to drink, you get free beer. People laugh. It's a very hypnotic thing,
Some things haven't changed in Irish storytelling tradition. For example, they're still not meant for children because they carry meaning that children don't understand.
But they're mainly adult-based stories because children find them difficult to understand. It's not just telling a story for the sake of telling a story. It's a story to preserve a culture because our culture was pretty much beaten out of us by the English, but they couldn't beat the spoken word from us.
Storytellers do still use their stories as a way to preserve culture. The context of modern stories is reflective of Irish history rather than tales and legends. However, there is less emphasis on storytelling. Tim Evans quoted that storytelling has moved more to Facebook, meaning it has been highly influenced by the media. We really enjoyed working together for our video project. Our research went really well. We were able to divide it up equally and we both found really helpful sources, and we're able to combine our work to come up with a really good basis for our research. Our interview with Tim also went really, really well, and we got a perspective that we never would have gotten from just reading academic sources online, which was also very helpful to our project, considering that storytelling is more of a personal experience, and it's kind of hard to understand by just reading about it. It's not included in our video, but he did perform some of his stories for us, and we really got a better idea for what modern storytelling is in the Irish culture.
We worked really well for the project because Keira was able to do the voiceover because she's a native English speaker and I'm not. So she could pronounce the words better for the movie than I could, while I was much better with technology and editing the video. So I was able to putting together the video. And we encountered challenges because we don't do this often at our home universities. So we had some problems with technology and figuring out how to make the video.
We feel that this project was useful because learning to use technology and create video presentations will be helpful for our future and in our jobs and for the rest of our education, because technology is becoming more and more important in everyday life.